Hello everyone, welcome to X Chapter Channel. Today I have a special guest. This is Ryoko or Ryoko, yes. Whichever way you want to go. And she is going to give us some really good insights into how to have a good work-life balance in Japan. So first, Ryoko, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, my name is Ryoko, or you can call me Ryoko. So I used to take his class. I really enjoy it. It's one of the best class I took in my university.
Flattery will get you everything. So how many years ago is that now?
Almost 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you have experience working in the famous Japanese work life. Do you work for a Japanese company?
Yes, I work for a Japanese company.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that if you would.
Okay, my company is we do some import, we import babies and kids product.
Okay.
Most likely baby carriers or strollers.
Okay.
Milk bottles, and now we have also the original items and starting to do some exporting.
So did you go through kind of the typical Japanese company hiring system? Like
it is.
How does that work? Can you give a quick description of how one gets hired to a Japanese company?
Okay, so during maybe it's a different right now a little bit, but at my time, I registered like a company I'm interested in with my like a description sheet. How do you call? Like information of myself.
Okay. Like resume?
Resume, that's my resume. Then, so the first test will be they checking my resume, and if they like it, I have my interview. I did like 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
Yes, to each companies.
How many companies did you interview with?
Actually, it was not a lot for me. Some people do like 20, 30s.
Oh wow.
I kind of limited, so about 10.
And would you say you got the company you wanted?
Yes, luckily.
Good.
So the company is in Yokohama, where I live close by. And also, I also wanted to use or improve my English. So it was a nice environment for me. And so I decided to go to my company it's my 6th year. Luckily, I haven't resigned yet.
Okay. And so you're still enjoying working there?
Yes, actually now is start liking kind of.
Start liking?
Yes, like first actually a few years was a little bit hard for me.
Okay, why is that?
To get used to it. Maybe it's really related to the topic today, but I had to work until like 9 or 10 p.m. I go home, I go home, eat some really small dinner like chikuwa. It's very hard to do, like working until late every day. It makes you very tired.
So it was kind of the stereotypical situation of late hours, tiring work.
Exactly.
And is it just because the workload is so much that you have to stay so late?
So this is the point why Japanese people work until late is basically I think it's because of the atmosphere of the workplace. Okay. So basically we have system. Every company have a good system. Like you can take a paid day off, like 10 days in a year, even like 20 days, but not everyone use all the paid day off. At least like 1 or 2 days in a year. If you take like 1 or 2 days of paid day off, they will think it's enough.
Okay. And now, is it true? I've heard that if you take a lot of days off, you're creating a nuisance for your coworkers because they have to cover your work, or it's like meiwaku, a nuisance for others. And so then your coworkers kind of look at you like,
are you really going to take day off?
Yeah.
It could happen actually. For my company, it's really nice to working moms, working dad. So if they want to take day off for their kids, like because of the school festival or sports festival, we are happy like they take the day off. No one blames, or they can just go, and they don't even have to hide the reason.
Okay.
But for myself, like without kids, like, and if I want to take 1 week off to go to abroad or something, I feel a little bit bad. I used to feel a little bit bad.
Okay.
It's easier to say or to lie actually. Yeah, rather saying the truth. I'm going to Mexico for 1 week. It's kind of difficult. It was used to be difficult, but now the atmosphere has changed for my workplace. Like some of my boss resigned, and he is now belongs to other company. He changed his career, and actually it was a big difference for me. Like people are studying more, relaxing.
So management can make a big difference. Who's your boss?
Even though we do the same job, like the feeling or atmosphere could be different.
Okay.
So that's something I also discovered in these few years.
So now that it's more relaxed, are you still going at home at 10 p.m.?
No, really. Usually because of the COVID-19, I started working at home too. But if I go to office, which is about like twice in a week, usually I leave my office at 7 p.m. But also, if I want to do, sometimes I feel like I want to do more too because it's fun.
Yeah.
Or you feel like it's important to finish this job today in order to have good results.
Sure.
I think if you feel in that way, I think you should do until you're satisfied.
So you do genuinely enjoy your job and drive some good job satisfaction.
Exactly. So sometimes even though I work until still 8 or 9, like once in a week, I'm quite satisfied because the atmosphere is much different.
Okay.
Used to be, it was like if you work late, they think you're a hard worker.
Yeah.
So it's a different, like, you know. But
was it the thing where your boss stayed late and you couldn't leave before your boss?
Exactly, it happens. You feel bad, like your boss is still working, and if you want to leave because it's already 8 p.m. I'm so hungry, but because my boss is still there, I feel really bad. I used to feel really bad.
Well, there's
That's funny, right?
There's a phrase in Japanese that you say, "Osaki ni shitsurei shimasu."
Yes.
Like, I'm leaving. Excuse me for leaving before you.
Right.
And there's almost a built-in feeling of guilt in that phrase. Like when I leave work, I'll say that to staff that are still there, and even though our jobs are completely different and our departments aren't related or something, I still feel like it's like it's like, sorry, I'm leaving.
I need to go.
Yeah, you're still here. That phrase kind of has that emotion attached to it, like, sorry.
So like I also think like when I speak English and when I speak Japanese, my personality kind of changes because of the language or expression.
Okay. I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, I think many people may feel.
How do you change?
Like, for my mood, if my mood in English, okay, see you tomorrow. I need to go home now. But if I say in Japanese, sorry, I need to go home now. You know, お先に失礼します.
Right. Yeah. It's a different feeling, isn't it?
Yes. The expression changes.
Okay, so that means I need to start saying goodbye to staff in English, and I'll feel better about myself.
Right. You have to say in your English American mode.
Hi, have a great night. See you tomorrow. And you have a lot of that. That seems good.
Yep.
So, I I felt you're a really good person for talking about the whole work-life balance thing,
Right.
because I mean, I've seen some of your posts on Facebook, and it seems like you've managed to keep like enjoyment and activities and things going on in your private life outside of the company. How difficult was that to manage, and like what have you done to
Okay.
try to maintain a work-life balance?
Okay. I do yoga teacher as well as my like a side work.
Okay.
Like side business, more like a hobby could be.
Okay.
Yes. But some people say in Japan, if you have good work-life balance, maybe most of them may think you finish your work at 6 p.m., go home, do something you like to do. But for me, it's a bit different because during the weekdays, I work a lot.
Okay.
I focus on my work, like main work, but during the weekends, I kind of change my switch to yoga mode, and I enjoy like teaching or learning for myself, and I think that's the way I'm keeping my balance.
Okay, so it's a little bit different than the image people might have.
For
example, in America, that like my work-life balance is I can get off work at a earlier time and that sort of thing. But for you, it's embracing your weekends completely.
Completely, yes.
Okay.
Not to think about like weekdays and just forget and focus on the weekend. And when I'm refreshed, I can go back to my work and, you know, looking for my next weekend and focus on my main work.
Okay, so it's kind of like a work hard, play hard
Yes, something
mentality.
kind of things.
Okay.
Yes.
So when and how did you get into yoga?
When and how? So I took my instructor course last year. It took me about like 200 hours, which took me like 10 months.
Okay, wow, all right.
To take. And so exactly 1 year ago, I took my instructor license. And the beginning of this year, I started teaching. And also because of the COVID-19, during the stay home period, I started teaching my yoga via online.
Okay, and how has it been? Like you say, it's a side hobby, but you also said it's like a side business. Are you holding like classes and have regular students and all that kind of thing?
That kind of thing. But usually I focus on my main student, or when I do my session, my main student is my friends or friends of my friends. So which is fun because you get to see him or she during the stay home period.
Okay.
This year was very crazy. Everyone feel kind of sometimes lonely, like staying home all the time. So it was nice to see my friends, and we can also do like a nomikai, but
Via Zoom.
Okay. But instead of that, we can also do yoga together and share the time.
Do you feel you're pretty typical in regards to work-life balance amongst many Japanese your age? Like work hard during the week and then have your major hobby on the weekend. Is that usual or unusual?
Maybe unusual.
Okay, why?
Some people said I'm too active, you know.
Okay.
Maybe you should take some break.
All right.
Yeah, I also agree to that.
Well, it sounds like yoga is your break, though.
It is so, yes. So I found that also yoga is good for everyone. They can do, like children can do, or elderly people can also do. So this is something I find it very interesting and makes me, I have very passion, like teaching to my friends or families, someone close to me.
Go ahead.
Okay, so if this is my main work, maybe I need to think about other things, like how to gather lots of students to join my session. But because I'm doing as a side business, like a hobby, I can do whatever I like to do and maybe good for themselves. So this is also the good way for me to do as an instructor. I have main work, so I can do it like a cheap price. You know?
Okay. well, here's what we'll do is we'll put your yoga information in the description of this video, and anyone who wants to contact you for doing like, I mean, they could be anywhere in the world, because if you're doing it on Zoom, you could have students in America or Australia or France or wherever. So yeah, make sure to give me your details about your yoga school, or I guess your yoga email address or something, and then people can contact you.
We can also do it here at the Jushu Beach.
Yeah,
at the beach.
Perfect. So yeah, I'll definitely include your contact information for that.
So if you want to have like work-life balance, like a typical image of work-life balance, which is you finish your work at 6 and during the weekdays and go home doing something you like to do. I personally think that you need to choose a job which is
not in Japan?
Yeah, no, you can find it in Japan.
Okay.
But you maybe it will be like a routine work. If you like something doing like a routine things, I think you should be able to find a lot of kind of job. But for me, I'm the person who cannot do routine work.
Okay.
I like something new. I like to try something. But it's very important to have a routine work. So you can also, this is one of the way to find like a good work-life balance in Japan. Or otherwise, you may have to read. We say in Japanese, 空気を読む, which is read the atmosphere, feel the atmosphere. Right?
Yep.
Yes, if you the person tend to read the atmosphere, it may be difficult.
Sure, yeah, you obliviously every day like, hi, I'm going home at 6, see you all tomorrow, and one day you ask your coworker, what time did you go home last night? And they're like, 11. And I go, oh, why so late? Oh, I do that every night. And go, oh no.
Sorry.
Yeah, don't.
You don't have to be sorry.
Don't be that person.
Yes, don't be that.
But I think that's one of the benefits of doing university work, is because we can set a lot of our own schedule, as long as our long as our classes are prepared, as long as we've done what we need to do on our research projects, and then of course whatever meetings or committees we might have. Generally speaking, we have a lot of flexibility with our schedule, and the main thing is we don't have a boss sitting at the head of the tables looking at us and noticing that we've gone home at 6, right?
Yeah, important not to be noticed.
But in a typical company, you're going to be sort of beholden to that system, and you might stay longer than you might really want to.
Actually, yes. So now, because of the COVID-19, the situation is changing, and more company let the people work from their home. So I think the situation in Japan is also going to be very different in 1 year, or maybe.
I think we're going to witness a demographic shift in that, in the, I'd say like our parents' generation, people would live in Saitama and commute to Tokyo, or live in Chiba and commute to Tokyo, and so like they could have like a larger house, larger land or something, but then have a long commute. And like your generation of students kind of has a preference for convenience. Don't live outside the city, but live right in the middle of things and have everything be easy to get to, right? But I think now with COVID and the rise of remote work, I think it's going to shift the other way. I think people are going to move their companies to smaller towns. Because if your company can meet with other companies via Zoom and not like physically get on the Yamanote-sen and ride to the company.
With the suits on.
As more companies embrace that, I think we're going to see a reverse of the trend of everyone moving into the cities.
So now it is often said that because of remote work, people, younger generation, they tend to stay home and they say they can focus more. But when you go to office, all the oji-san is in the office.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is like not, they don't have, they feel comfortable.
Hard to change your ways, right?
Hard to change the way. And if the wife is staying with him at home, they don't feel comfortable sitting there. So yes, it's going to be very different.
But maybe for the best, hopefully.
I think so. Yes, it's going to be better. I think definitely.
I want to ask you this because it's been my impression that generally with like the students of your graduating class and around your class, the work-life balance has been steadily getting better as compared to like the 80s and 90s and early 2000s.
Yes.
Is that your feeling as well?
I think so too. But
how and why? Well, what has changed, or how has it changed?
So our generation is the mindset is kind of different. Like when you finish your work, you want to, or tasks, you want to finish your work of the day, and so many of our generation are thinking that way. So if those people comes together, I think we can have those kind of atmosphere. And so as I said, there's a system. You can just use the system. It's very easy. But the hard things is happening in Japan if you work with generally with elderly or older generation.
Who are used to the old way.
And so because of the mindset is different, I start forgetting your question.
So how the work-life balance has changed in recent years.
Yes.
Well, no, I think
between the generation.
Yeah,
right?
you just answered the question. So yeah, you didn't lose it at all.
Okay. I thought I just said what I want to say, instead of answering your question.
It was a perfect answer.
But how about in like other country? I'm not sure what I'm saying is typical thing in Japan, or maybe you also agree some of the points.
Well, I think there's definitely a work hard, play hard mentality that exists in America too. When you think of like typical office work, is you work hard and then you go home and have totally off time on the weekends. But I do think that the typical American worker is keeping more to specific shifts of time. Like you get to work and start at 9 and then you leave at 5 or 6.
Yes.
The stereotypical, we call the 9 to 5 job.
9 to 5, yeah.
And
I think it's really important.
So, I mean, Japan is always kind of famous as the place in the world where everyone stays late. And I saw this when I was in my first job, because I was teaching in a junior high school, and school teachers are famously staying late at school, which is completely different, because I was a teacher in the U.S. as well, and teachers in the U.S. finish, their grading, and one difference there is you talked about the boss looking over you. Typically, American junior high school or high school teachers have their own office, or they might have a shared office with 1 or 2 other people.
Yeah.
But in Japan, you have the teacher's room.
Yeah.
And everyone is in that room
like
together, and including the vice principal and everyone. And so, like, there's that social pressure that you don't want to be the first to leave, and I'm so busy, I've got so much to do. But then I remember sitting in the Kyoiku Inkai, the Board of Education, and watching the boss. I was the only person in the room that was sitting at a place behind him, so I could see what he was working on.
Right. What was he?
Everyone else is around the desk, and they can't actually see what he's doing. And I watched him randomly clicking on cells in an Excel program, like not typing anything, but like
Oh my
E5, C1, like bouncing. And if you were watching from the other side, he looked very busy.
Like he's like working on something.
Yeah. And he's got an Excel sheet open on his computer if someone happened to look, right? But
my God.
he's actually not doing any
anything.
work. Yeah.
Just typing, clicking.
But you have to look busy. You have to
Also,
look busy.
my father, he's an English teacher in Japan, and he works for a private school in Tokyo. And he said he's the kind of person like he's against the Japanese rules. He's oji-san, but he against the Japanese rules.
Yeah.
When he's done with his work, he wants to go home as soon as possible. But now, recently, because he's doing that every day, the school has changed the policy. Like every teacher has to stay until 5 p.m. So even though his work is finished, he has to stay until 5 p.m. And
Well, let me ask you this though: Did he face some kind of pressure or like passive aggressive behavior towards him, like this stink eye? Like, did he have to sort of suffer through that thing?
so the point is, he's the person doesn't read the atmosphere.
He doesn't care.
Care.
Oh.
If you have like a strong mentality to just ignore everything because I'm doing my work, he's the kind of person. I never can be that kind of person actually. But I think it's not wrong. He's
Right.
doing the right things because he's done his work and he's making results. He's supporting his students,
Right.
which is the job for the teachers to do. So he just ignored everything.
Sure. Okay. He's pretty rare though, as a Japanese who does that,
Very rare.
right? I think there's plenty of foreigners in Japan who take advantage of being a foreigner in that way. Like, I'm a foreigner, so I don't need the kuki o yomu. Like, and it's- I'm the gaijin. See you all tomorrow. Like, there certainly is an element of that. I mean, that was me when I was in ALT. I didn't stay till 10 p.m. with all the other
Definitely.
Japanese teachers.
So
If I had, I would have had nothing to do. I
Right.
mean, I couldn't. I would have gone
Right.
crazy. I would have gone nuts if I'd. Well, we've talked about a number of different things, and I think you covered some really good points to think about. I guess one final question would be is if you have any advice to new graduates going into the workforce, or I guess anyone who is moving to Japan
Right.
to join a Japanese company, what advice would you give them?
Okay, so advice I would give them. So one good thing is this year was very crazy because of the COVID. But when you look at the bright side, the way of working style is getting or it's changing in Japan, which is really good. Many people start working in remote from
Right.
their home, and also my company, they're returning one of the office floor to the building owner, so which we cannot go back to the style we used to have. So this is something I'm looking forward actually
Yeah.
for Japanese society to change. But still, if you have older generation, maybe they still have the mindset like staying or working longer time is working hard. The kind of the opinion. So when you look at or when you search for a company you're interested in, maybe you want to check like which generation is working.
Okay.
I think it's important.
Find a younger boss.
Younger boss. One of the advices.
That's pretty good advice.
Also, but also it's different. It's not like all the time. So also it's nice to have other generation in the company because we have many opinions, like when there's discussions. It's fun, but maybe the point you want to check. And also when you think about what kind of work you are doing, if you want to have like good work-life balance, maybe as I mentioned a little bit, maybe you want to find like a routine work. Yes, and to keep it a good balance. This is also one of the ways.
Sure.
Used to be each individual person belonged to company, but I think it's opposite these days. Like you're the individual person, and if the company kind of belong to the person, like if you think working at the company is good for you, for example, for myself, the environment is very good for me to improve my English, and also I have place because my company is related to like a children or moms, dads. If I want to do like a yoga lesson with them, I have the place to do. So it's really good for me to do whatever I like to do.
Good.
So I think that's also one of the way when you look at the company you want to work with. If the company would help to do whatever you like to
like
do.
what their policies are in terms of what their employees are allowed to do. Although you do have to be careful about that, because there's oftentimes companies that'll say, oh, of course it's okay to take 20 days of vacation, but it's actually not okay. So
yes, also do some internship, because otherwise you won't be able to see how the reality
actually inside the company, right? That kind of ended on a it's hard to find a company and hard to do the research, but it's not impossible. And certainly like these days with testimonials on the internet, you can find people who have talked about working at a place or can give you some idea. It's not impossible, but
I think, let's see, maybe like if you find company in Japan, like when you start working, you tend before, like in the past, people think to work like 40 years, rest of your life. They try to find a company you want to work for your rest of the life, but now it's really changing. So I think most important thing is to understand what you like the most, what you like to do, and based on your own policy, you should try to find the company to meet your policy and matches your policy.
And the good news is, as the generations are changing, it's becoming a little more loose in terms of allowing for work-life balance, which is good. And so look for a startup or a new company, that kind of thing, maybe. Or start your own.
Also, more company would allow people to do the side business as well. More and more company will let the co-workers to do. So I think that would be very good if you have something you like doing it.
Like a YouTube channel or yoga.
Yoga. Something like that.
Not that I'm making any money off of this. This is not really a side job. This is a side hobby.
But it's fun. Like you get to know lots of things.
I get to have interesting conversations, and I get to share things that I feel I've learned about Japan over the years. And mostly it's a creative outlet for me, because I wasn't doing anything particularly creative. My hobby was running, and I'm not creating anything when I'm running. I'm just running.
For yourself.
So doing something like this has actually been great, because it's given me a creative outlet. So, well, thank you very, very much for doing this. And I think we learned a lot of interesting things. I certainly did. Thank you all for watching. If you have not already, hit the like button on this video and subscribe if you are not already. And watch for my future videos. A new video every Friday, something about Japanese life, society, and culture. So
Interesting.
thank you, Ryoko, and
Thank you.
good luck with your yoga. We're going to put all of your information down below so that
Hope
you
we
can
can
find
do
her studio.
together.
Yep. Help her side business grow into her main business.
Yes, next interview will going to be about side business.
Okay. All right.
Hopefully.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.